Hey, welcome into the Stink Truth Podcast alongside Mike Evans. I am Mark Schlereth. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm just kind of curious. When are you going to make your comeback to the NFL? So Phillip Rivers is coming back. What's next? Stink? Anybody out there in the NFL need a little help at left guard?
Dude.
Huh?
Dude. I would like, one thing that drives me crazy is watching NFL offensive linemen lay their hands on people. Like, this ain't a come to Jesus tent revival, right? They're just like, and I'm all about the tent revival.
Sure.
Praise Jesus. But you got to throw hands, man. You got to be violent.
A stab.
You gotta be able to punch guys. You gotta be able to throw. You gotta be able to and there's so much. It's like jazz hands, you know. And so it drives me crazy.
Right.
As long as they promise not to hit me,
Yeah,
could if anybody hit me, I would just crumble. I would just like crepe paper. I'd just be torn.
Phillip Rivers, man, it's happening. This is happening, folks. Hasn't played since 2020. 44 years old. He was a semifinalist for this year's Hall of Fame class. That ends. The clock starts over again for him.
Not on the practice squad, it doesn't. But as soon as he gets activated, then it starts.
And let's face it, he was signed with the idea he's going to play.
Dude, how about, what does this say about the quarterbacking, like the feel that organizations have about the quarterbacks that are available? Like, you can pluck a backup off of anybody's practice squad. And I mentioned this to you. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but I'm talking to a buddy of mine who's a current defensive coordinator in the league. And he says to me, just offhand, he goes, there has never once before in the history of this league been more arm talent and less guys that know how to play quarterback. That's the way the league is currently constructed. And it struck me, man. I was like, wow. All the 7-on-7 bullshit that everybody grows up doing, and you just learn how to throw it. And it all becomes like, hey, man, street yard, backyard football. Throw it to the open guy, and there's nobody underneath, and there's not a pass rush, and, everybody can look like they're amazing at that. And then the college game, mimics that with the wide hashes and the wide side of the field and all those things. And you've got all these guys that are exceptionally gifted from an athletic standpoint, from an arm talent standpoint, that can't play quarterback. And so your best option, if you're Indianapolis with a murderer's row of 4 games coming up, they've got Seattle. I think they have, Jacksonville. I think they have Houston the last game of the season. San Francisco. So you're looking at like the best opportunity for us to maybe overcome this Daniel Jones injury is going out and getting a 44-year-old guy who's been on the couch for the last 4.5 years.
But they worked him out, Stink, and he had to be able to show some mobility. He had to be able to show some arm talent. I mean, the Colts aren't dumb, right? I mean, give Rivers credit. He's been coaching high school football, and maybe in the process, he's just kept himself in good enough shape. He's probably thrown the football a lot, being around high school football. He has to have shown something for this to happen. And by the way, to your point about why not pluck somebody else, is whatever you're losing with some of the athleticism and the age of Phillip Rivers, are you gaining with just his knowledge of the offense?
Yeah.
That you wouldn't get that quickly if you plucked somebody off somebody else's practice squad.
You could see that, and like the route combinations haven't changed in 30 years. Like, everybody runs the same route. And then we call it, one guy calls it Stinger and one calls it Viper, whatever. But they haven't changed, so he understands the concepts. He understands, hey, how I attack cover 3 versus how I attack cover 4 versus how I want to attack quarters, all these different things.
And that knowledge maybe is more important than, what kind of 40 he runs right now.
Well, it definitely, it definitely is more important than, running 40s and jumping over boxes, is having that knowledge from the neck up of where to go with the football and to be on time. And as a high school coach, I guarantee he's throwing with those kids all the time. My son is a college baseball coach. And it's funny, we were together a couple of weeks ago, and we went down to the Tampa area to see him. And we were just kind of chatting because he throws bullpens all the time with his college pitchers, and then he throws live BP. And we're just talking about his baseball team and everything else, and somehow got on the topic of him throwing. And he goes, my arm is in great shape. Now, he's fat, and he's not in shape, because my arm is in great shape.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm throwing these bullpens. I'm cutting these college kids up, just cut them up. And I'm like, well, how hard do you think you can throw? He goes, I think I can still touch 90. And I'm like, he hasn't pitched in forever.
Right.
And so for a guy like Phillip Rivers, like, that dude is playing catch every day. He's throwing the ball every day. I guarantee you, like, from an arm talent standpoint, or from a arm health standpoint, I bet you his arm feels better than it's felt in years.
All right, so are we looking at like a Disney
but
type
I guarantee
story?
he's fat.
Are we looking at a Disney type story? This is like The Rookie, right? This is like Dennis Quaid, right? Coming back and all of a sudden making it to the show.
Yeah.
Is this gonna end well for Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, not quite Dennis Quaid. Looks more like Randy Quaid.
That's good. That's good.
So,
air knuckles.
Yeah,
Nicely
air knuckles.
done.
Boom. Do I think he could throw it around? Do I think he could stand there if he didn't get hit? Yeah. I mean, you do develop a certain callus when you play. And when you don't play for a while, that callus is gone. Now, luckily, they do protect the quarterbacks, but you're eventually going to get hit, and that's never going to be a good thing.
You know who's jealous of Phillip Rivers right now?
Who's that?
Tom Brady. Because Brady.
Dude,
Brady thinks he could do this.
This may be the catalytic event that just nudges Brady out of the booth and back in to the game.
Well, he can't do it. He's part owner of the
He could do it for the Raiders.
For the Raiders, he could.
You think Brady... Remember when he said back when he was in his early to mid 40s and he was still playing? Because he played at what? How old was he? 44?
45.
45.
And that year, his last year in the NFL at age 45, he attempted a career high in passes with like almost 800 passes in his last year.
Do you remember when he was maybe in his late 30s and he said that, I could play into my 50s?
Yeah.
And we all laughed. We're all like, I think he was like 38 at the time.
Yeah.
We're like, Dude, if he came back next year, he would come back at 48 and he would turn 49 in August because I celebrate his birthday. I know that off the top of my head because I celebrate his birthday. I've had a restraining order on me several times over the course of...
Stay within 500 feet.
Right, over the course of his glorious career. Could you see this being the thing that pushes him?
Nah, he wouldn't come back for a full season, but like in an emergency break glass type situation like this, without a shadow of a doubt that he's looking at Phillip Rivers and go, I could do that, and I'd be better. And you know what? He would be. While we're talking about quarterbacks, I can't believe this, but earlier today, before we did this, Nick Sirianni answered the question. It was actually posed to him. Okay?
No.
Would you consider benching Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
I mean, he said outrageous. No. But the fact that it's out there and increasingly, Stink, it's the drum beats are growing to that Jalen Hurts is really the problem behind what's going on in Philly.
Yeah, it does seem, we talked about this forever. And any show you did, back when I did a daily television show before I got fired, we used to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, and one of the things I would always say is, man for man, from a roster standpoint, the Philadelphia Eagles have the best roster in football. And where was that roster dominant? where do they dominate the rest of NFL teams? Both lines of scrimmage. Yeah. That's where they dominated. And they've had injuries on their offensive line. They lost guys on their defensive line to free agency. And, ultimately, this is kind of one of those things where it truly feels like Jalen Hurts' success was more a product of the people around him than it was him. And I think, listen, man, you may not like to hear that, but I think that is 100% true. And I think also schematically, you have to put them in those positions. And there's a lot of guys that don't want to be known as, game managers or running quarterbacks and it's interesting to me because any player, regardless of the position that you play, Mike, you have to know what you're good at. More importantly, you have to know what you're not good at. And then you got to lean into the stuff that you're good at, and you've got to try to mitigate the things that you're not good at. Like as a player, I had an understanding of what I could and what I couldn't do. And so I made sure that I put myself in a position to be successful as opposed to putting myself in a position to fail. And right now, as an organization, you got to have the balls to say, hey, Hurts, you're not good at X, Y, and Z, but you're exceptional at A, B, and C. So you know where we're going to live? We're going to live in A, B, and C. It's like you remember the movie. Oh shoot! Now I can't think of the movie. Hitch. Remember the Hitch?
Yeah, with Will Smith, right?
With Will Smith and the King of Queens, whatever that guy's name is.
Kevin James.
Kevin James, where
like Sean Payton in a movie.
Yeah, right, exactly. Where Hitch is trying to teach how Kevin James how to dance, and he's like, "No, you're right here. This is where you are." And he's like getting all wild. He goes, No. That's not, we can't go on that date and dance like that. You can't be crazy. You got to be right here, right? They got to be right here. They got to be in the A, B, and C. This is what we do well. This is how we dominate games. This is how we get back to winning. And I believe that oftentimes what you do is you think as a play caller that, man, we're going to expand the offense. I'm going to prove how smart I am. You know what you're not? You're not smart. Like, don't try to be smart. Let's not try to outthink people. Let's try to out-execute people, and let's try to live in what we can do. And, the issue is that you're going to piss some people off on that offense, mainly number 11.
But is it – all right, let me stand up for Jalen Hurts, though. Is it Jalen Hurts' fault that Saquon Barkley, who last year carried the ball 345 times for 2,000 yards, right now is on a pace where he's going to carry it 285 times for 1,100 yards. You always talk about identity.
Yeah.
How important it is to have that identity on offense.
Right. Well,
last year they had a clear identity. This year they've got away from that. Is that Jalen Hurts' fault?
We're saying the same exact thing. Is Jalen Hurts saying, man, I want to expand. I don't want to run anymore. I don't want to do that. I don't know. I'm not in there. I'm not in their facility.
Right.
So at some point.
Do you really think Jalen Hurts would put his foot down and say, I've got to throw the ball more and Saquon Barkley needs to carry it less?
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, then
you think players do
have a Jalen Hurts problem.
You think players don't have egos? You think players that play the quarterback position don't want to be known for? Do you think, like, why is it that when we say the guy's a great game manager, it becomes a derogatory thing where quarterbacks want to press you on it when you meet them in a meeting, like, game manager? What do you mean by that? You're like, right? It's a derogatory term. When you say, hey, Jalen Hurts has got to run more, what does that mean? Well, he can't operate the drop back portion of the offense, right? Do you think those guys take that personally? You're damn right they do. Now, I don't know. I'm not there, so I don't know if Jalen Hurts is saying that, but I know for a fact there have been multiple quarterbacks, and I'm not going to name them, that have had those stigmas placed on them and that haven't liked it and have demanded to change the offense or to be more of a, something they're not, so that they can prove to themselves, but they can prove to the world that, man, I can be a drop back guy and orchestrate the offense. And there's just a lot of guys that aren't that skilled doing that stuff. And so, again, I don't know, but that's to me, that's the issue.
Well, while we're talking about attitude, being a team player, all that kind of thing, George Pickens, go.
Dude, I wish I could buy George Pickens for what he's worth and sell him for what he thinks he's worth. And I'll give the Dallas Cowboys a shit ton of credit. Good for you for not signing him to a long-term deal. You can't. You can't sign this guy to a long-term deal because he is exactly who you thought he was. An unbelievable talent, an unbelievable skilled player that plays when he wants to play, that plays when he's the primary. That dude is like a government worker that gets paid by the hour.
Uh-oh.
I'm telling you, man, put on the film. I was watching the film of the Detroit Thursday night game, and there were times where I rewound it a couple times going, is he filming his own slow motion movie? Like the lack of effort and just the lack of interest when he's not the primary, and CeeDee Lamb goes down, and you're still lollygagging. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, there is no way you can pay George Pickens.
Really?
No way.
He's on pace for 100 catches. Let me make sure I have the numbers right. He's on pace for 100 catches, 1,500 yards, and 10 touchdowns. You're not going to pay that?
I wouldn't. No. Hell no. Absolutely no way, shape, or form would I pay that guy. Because that guy, and goes back to something I believe in, something that was preached to me the day I walked in the league. Great talent. Joe Gibbs used to say it all the time. Great talent makes plays in the first 3 quarters. Character men win games in the fourth quarter. You've got your playoff lives on the line Thursday night, winner take all, Detroit, Dallas. We talked about it. Man, this could be the game that either propels you toward the playoffs or sinks your ship. And 40% of the plays, man, that dude is lollygagging. He's disinterested. In a game that potentially is your playoff life. Hey, listen, man, he's a great talent. He's a great talent. Sure, he runs a really good 40. I bet you he jumps really high. I bet you he does all those things exceptionally well, Mike. You know, I'm out on the field, Denver Broncos training camp. Sean Payton calls me over. So come here. Takes me on the field. We're 20 minutes. We're just chatting. Practice is going on. You know, guys are stretching. Then they're doing their things. And says to me, you know, it's not just about having great players. It's about having the right great players. And sometimes you got to make a really tough decision and get rid of really talented guys because they're not the right guy. And the first guy that comes to mind for me was Jerry Jeudy. Unbelievable talent. Run, routes, get off the ball. He's got a great wiggle. Just not the right guy. And I'm just telling you, you win games with big plays and all that stuff, but you won't consistently compete for championship level football with dudes like that on your team that aren't running that aren't playing hard if they're not the primary.
So let me see if I got this straight. So let me see if boil it down. George Pickens, if you're a team that just needs production and you're rebuilding and you're just trying to get players who can produce, okay, George Pickens is that kind of guy. He'll produce. The numbers say it. He'll produce. But if you're a team that's trying to win and believe that you're a playoff team and you're on the cusp of all that kind of stuff, you don't want it anywhere near your team. Simple as that. Because I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying Stink, about having the right kind of guys, but the NFL is also a production business too.
Sure,
you want to make sure you have the right kind of people, but you have to have people that produce. George Pickens produces.
It's great.
So there'll always be a home for him somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, but where is that?
Right.
Where's that home? What should that home look like?
You will always. Hey, he'll be top of the free agent list for teams that compete for 9-8 or 8-9, like teams that aren't trying to win championships, teams that are trying to sell tickets, teams that want that flash. He'll be great for you.
Okay.
Make him your primary. Listen, man, if a team like the Steelers, where he's had a ton of production, is willing to part ways with him, like, you always have to kind of follow the tea leaves, read the tea leaves. Now follow the breadcrumbs. That's what I was trying to come up with, breadcrumbs, not tea leaves. You read the tea leaves.
Correct.
You follow the breadcrumbs.
Boom.
You don't follow the tea leaves.
No. And you don't read the breadcrumbs.
You don't read the breadcrumbs. You follow the breadcrumbs. You read the tea leaves.
Boom.
So read the tea leaves, follow the breadcrumbs.
That's why people come to this podcast.
If you are willing to walk away from a guy that's exceptionally gifted because you're tired of his shit, right? Then, understand what you're getting yourself into.
Well, Troy Aikman apparently has gotten tired of this NIL shit.
Yeah.
So you see this story? So,
yeah, I did.
And this doesn't surprise me. This is something that those of us who've been paying attention to what's going on in college football, how everything's just flipped overnight. It's become the Wild West. Rules are being made up as you go along. But the idea being, okay, how many times can you go to a booster or a big time former alumni like this and keep putting your hand out every year and say, can you help? Can you help? Can you help? Especially when Aikman said, I paid for this player at UCLA. He
a hefty sum of money.
Sum of money, and he didn't name the player's name. We'll leave it up to people to speculate. But he said that player left without even so much as a thank you to go off and take the highest bidder from somebody else. And he says, I'm done. And I don't blame him.
I don't either. You see the Utah story where they've got a
private equity firm.
I think they're going to change their name to the Utah Gold Diggers. It's
wild.
It's something. We need an adult, like a real adult, to actually come in and put some parameters on this thing. And there needs to. It is college athletics. It's a professional sport now. Okay, the Pandora's box has been opened. It's a professional sport. So let's start dealing with it like professionals. There needs to be contracts. There needs to be consequences. If you void it, you get the money back. There has got to be a time. If you're going to take millions upon millions of dollars from the university to play football for said university or basketball for said university, then there has got to be a contract with a time length stipulation. You're going to take this money and you're going to owe us 3 years of service or 2 years, whatever that is. But there has got to be some consequences for you. Shouldn't just be able to take your check and then go, yeah, you know what? Going got tough. I'm going to pack up my bags and go somewhere else. Oh, I didn't like it here. Oh, that coach held me accountable. He yelled at me. I'm leaving. Whatever it is. Oh, they recruited a brand new hotshot at my spot, at my position. I'm gone. There's got to be a contract. It can no longer be this, and you can no longer watch the Lane Kiffins who build a program and I'm not blaming Lane, it's the system that allows Lane to leave, and all of a sudden the guys that you've asked to sacrifice and to play hurt and to do all those things, now those guys are without a coach, and then half of those guys are going to leave to go to LSU with you.
Exactly, and I can't believe how quickly this has happened. It was just a couple years ago. Hey, listen, we got to put something into place so that some of these players, can make a few extra bucks so they can
get a burger,
go take their girlfriend out to a movie, whatever.
Right.
Just a few extra bucks. And here we are in seemingly overnight.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about private equity firms, how you have to come in and infuse $500 million just so you can keep up with the big boys. And Troy Aikman saying, I'm not going to scratch out checks anymore. These players
I
are.
wonder if Troy will scratch me a check.
He might.
On an NIL deal
He
for
might.
him.
You'll support
Scratch
Troy Aikman every week.
And I will write him love letters on a weekly basis.
But it just
with
seems-
I will put hearts over the eyes. I will do whatever it takes.
You got that pen that has the multicolors?
Yeah.
Troy, what week do you what color
What do you
want?
need?
What
You
color
need
you want
pink
this week?
hearts? I'm your guy.
But Stink, I mean, talk about the tail wagging the dog. It just
Yeah.
it just seems like the players went from being legitimate, victims in all of this to being way too much power. Way too much power.
There needs some, like I said, an adult needs to come in and put some parameters on this thing, reel it in, and level the playing field.
I got one more story for you.
Okay.
You got to tell me if this is real or not. So Quentin Jammer, real good player for the Chargers, cornerback for many, many years, right? He said, I'll read from his post, quote, true story. In 2011, I played completely S-faced drunk in at least 8 games. Do you believe that? Is that possible? Is that possible to be knockout drunk playing NFL football?
I'm sure that's probably legit.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, would it be hard to do? Yeah. Would I ever do it? Absolutely not. I mean, obviously it sounds like he's got a problem. But hey, listen, man, when you've got a problem, how many people in America bring their problem to work with them every day? So
that's a little different than playing NFL football covering Randy Moss,
You would think.
You would think. Are these guys just so freakish that they can do it?
And freakish and functional. I don't know how you would do it. I really don't know how you would do that. But do I believe him? Yeah. I believe him. That's insane. But
I mean, David Wells said he pitched a no-hitter while he was hung over.
Yeah, hung over. That's
different than playing, knockout drunk.
Yeah. Playing with a buzz. He had his buzz on. Got to get my buzz on.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's it. That's absolute insanity. Just insanity.
All
Mike.
right. Well, there you go.
All right.
Another thing that makes football so fascinating. We got guys out there Sunday playing drunk.
That's right. We got guys out here playing drunk.
Like, hey, Quentin, give me a little space. Give me a little cushion here. I don't want to be breathing your fumes all day here.
That's
Come on
right.
now.
You've been sucking on some cough medicine? What's going on over there, Quentin? Just breathing on, dude.
Oh, man. You going to be on me all day? Can I
Yeah.
at least give you a breath mint? What do you say?
You have to come to the stadium and take a breathalyzer before you play
Jeez
football?
Louise, man.
No, you're over the legal limit, dude.
Oh, man.
That's terrible.
All right.
Hey, listen, for everybody involved in the Stinkin' Truth podcast, we appreciate you guys. Be back with you later on the week to wrap it all up. Week 15 coming down the pike, man. Can't wait. It is week 15, right? You got that correct.
And by the way, can I still get 3-0 for my picks last week? Because I got the mother of all bad beats at the end of that Bronco game. Something was fishy there. I think I need to be 3-0.
Right, I'll think about that. For everybody involved in the Stinkin' Truth podcast, we thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We'll be back with you guys later on in the week.